Bring in Murray McCormick from the Regina Leader-Post. And I'll say it again, Murray, if you didn't hear it. Kudos on all the scoops you've had this spring and summer on the Rough Riders. How challenging has the beat been, my friend, given 2020?
It's challenging as anything I've ever done in the CFL. Just making up stories. Sorry, not creating stories, making them up. Trying to keep on track of all the Twitter rumors for all the guys. The CFL kind of drips off some of its rumors and stuff and dribs and drabs to people. So that kind of makes it, you're following these guys who are a little better connected than I am. But it's just been, it's an incredible challenge. And actually this week, I'm not on sports. I'm doing pages, which is like laying out pages and those kind of things. I'm in news for a week. Like a lot of my fellow beat writers were doing news stuff because there just isn't enough in sports to keep us going. And the way things look, I could be doing news stuff for quite a while. So unfortunately.
Well, that's interesting that you would say that because why not? They got to make you work. That's probably a good thing. Back to your start in this business. But let me say this. You've had the scoops, Murray. Don't be too humble here. You got your ear to the ground. You had the scoop that the Riders staff took pay cuts and then about the $200,000+ loss. Just talk about those reports right there because pretty big news in the CFL were your reports.
I was surprised. I wasn't surprised the Riders staff had to take pay cuts. I think we saw that coming for everyone. I don't think there's any business that doesn't have any money coming in that can survive without doing something with pay cuts. And that's what happened there. I was surprised they lost money, but when you look at the way things worked out, with the donations to charities and the keeping the Alouettes alive and those kind of things, that the loss does make more sense. It's almost like a paper loss. I don't think it's a real loss in terms of money. I think they still have some money, but I was surprised that they did lose money. I was expecting higher profits, but boy, wait till 2021 and we'll see what the annual general meeting looks like then. It is going to be scary, ugly with the numbers we're going to see from this year based on the fact that they've had to put off the season till September if it even has one. So this is maybe a slight indication of what's ahead of us, but it's kind of depressing these days in the world of sports. So I guess that's the life we're leading right now.
Sure, Murray, but that's why I ask, because we're talking about the flagship juggernaut of the CFL, and you're talking about losses there. So I guess that would be my next natural question for you. How concerned are you for the future of the Canadian Football League, and what are you hearing about it?
I'm hearing everything. I'm very concerned. I'm not even close to being 100% there's going to be a season. I think there's so many logistical challenges that have to be overcome. And I think we saw, not that you can expand what you saw with the Canada West and new sports canceling their season, but they addressed all the things the CFL does, like travel and hotel spaces and where do guys stay and do you put one guys in a room and those kind of things. And I think guys can get across the border. And I just don't see that being solved by September. I really don't. And I think it's going to be before September because they're going to have to make a decision. I'm thinking by the mid-July or late July at the absolute latest on what the season is going to be. So I wouldn't be surprised there wasn't a season. And if there isn't a season, I think the CFL can use that. I like the idea of Randy Ambrose and stuff taking a deep breath and taking a look at what we think is a flawed business model with guys making too much money right now. And you can't fault them for getting their contracts, but I think the CFL takes a long, hard look at its business model to cut back, to make it a more realistic style of game and whatever type of sports we're going to have in 2021.
Well, Murray, you're obviously talking to Rough Rider types, or at least people connected to them, because that's where you're getting your scoops. So I'm just wondering about the quarantine model. For instance, Justin Dunk came on here and said the CFL is obviously using Varhan Lalji and to a certain extent Dave Naylor to get their info out. And that's cool. They got to have somebody, and that's their television rights holder. So for Farhan's not going to willy-nilly throw out this Hub City thing and how much they're investigating it. So what are your rider sources saying about that, the quarantine cities, and actually playing?
I haven't found anyone that will say the conversation has gone beyond a notion or for an informal discussion. I haven't heard anybody say, talking to people that high up in this negotiations that said, no, we've not talked to anyone from the CFL. We've had some sort of, stuff between the riders and whatnot, just breaking up there. So I think, is it more of a trial balloon floated by the CFL? Yeah, I think it could be possibly that. I haven't heard anything to confirm that the hub cities are going to take place. That doesn't mean they're not going to, but I also think there's way more challenges with that kind of thing. How do the guys get across the border? And I know, where do the guys come from? Where do they stay when they're quarantining? And I know the CFL is dealing with all that. in a hub city. But even if the hotels, do you want 500 people from out of the province coming to stay in our hotels? Like, how do you make sure everything is safe for them? So there's so many things that have to go on with this hub city that I don't know if it's viable, but it's nice we're talking about it. It's nice that they're exploring every single option before giving up on the season. But ultimately, I think that's going to be what happened, is they're going to give up on 2020 and start looking at 2021, because I just don't see a whole lot of reasons for it to going ahead. And I know that's not the optimistic attitude we're supposed to have, but if you break down all the things you see what's going on in the world right now, I think playing a football season doesn't rank up that high.
Well, you know what? You're making a lot of sense, Murray, and one of those key points is that it is good that we are talking about it. Can you imagine if we weren't talking about it? We would be talking about Korean baseball and NASCAR. The CFL does need to be top of mind. There's no doubt about it. And the thing is, CFL lovers are just hammering me for saying how grave the situation is for the CFL. I had to go back at a guy last night, Murray, in Vancouver. His name's Gord. And I said, listen, people need to know how urgent and dangerous the situation is the CFL's facing. We're going to need to have some uncomfortable conversations here down the line if this league's going to be saved. That's just a fact. Murray, you know me a long time. I'm not a fearmonger, and I don't have a huge reputation of being wrong. It is that grave of a situation. Now, having said all of that, how much are you missing the guys? Because frankly, I'm missing Cody Fajardo when watching him on the football field. You should be into, well, the preseason would be behind us, right? And you'd be getting ready for the... Yeah, well, you'd be in a week one bye week. But how much are you missing being around the guys in that regard?
I'm missing being around anybody. And I love my wife and I get all that stuff, but I just need to get out with guys and just sort of talk football and just get a chance to be normal. And it's not normal now. Like, I get up in the morning and I do my normal things, but I don't have a chance to talk to people, just to BS with people. Like, training camp was such a fun time, because it's just go there and work your butt off and write as many stories as you can and learn all about it. I'm missing that. I'm missing, like, kind of looking forward to this bye week. I was going to waste it golfing in this time because, it's kind of a weird to have a bye week on the first part of the season. But I do miss the guys. I miss all the media. I miss the kibitzing and the lying and telling stories and remembering things. And yeah, it is really, Marion mentioned, she says, like, you, by this time of the year, you're tired because you've been through training camp, you've done some preseason stuff, and you need a break. It says now you're just like sitting here looking at me, trying to find things to do. So it is an incredibly weird time, surreal, and I hope it ends soon, but I can't see it ending soon, but I would like to see it end soon, somehow. Well,
I bet you, Murray, you're feeling better, though. You took that nasty spill out front of Commonwealth Stadium, right, and buggered up your hip. I mean, like, the fact that you've slowed down's probably been good for you, I would think.
Well, that was the worst road trip of my life. That was many, many moons ago since then. But I've kind of, like my buddy Rob Vanstone, we both kind of embraced the physical activity part of life. When you get a little older, you can't just lay around and let things happen to you. I've kind of, I walk, I bike, go to a gym, do all those good things, and I'm not bragging. Those are the things I do now. I have to say, it's one of the advantages of not having anything to do is you can exercise a lot if you're so interested. It's kind of a nice way to keep going at it. I haven't lost as much weight as Rob.
Yeah, who has?
I don't know. Good for him. That's an amazing accomplishment, and the guy puts on thousands of miles a day walking and biking. So it's pretty proud of him, but. I don't know.
He's almost half the man that he used to be. And
he needs to buy some new clothes, too. So
right. The last thing, Murray, is the news release that you sent out, whether it was last night or this morning. I got it this morning when I got up. 2020 strikes again when it comes to the Regina Sports Hall of Fame. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it was a decision. I don't think it's a decision that surprised anybody. We've postponed our induction ceremony. 2020 was going to be... Usually happens about the middle of August, so we induct our latest people into the Regina Sports Hall of Fame. We put it off to 2021. It's just the easier way to do it. It was we couldn't ask people to come and gather to celebrate what we think is a very important, a very integral part of the city, knowing they're going to have to wear masks and whatnot and social distancing, and people wouldn't feel comfortable. And we are a little bit of an older group, so I think it was the right decision. We postponed it to 2021. All of the inductees from 2020. We'll still be involved. We'll still be part of the picture in 2021. But I think it was the right decision by the Sports Hall of Fame Saskatchewan Sports Hall of Fame did it too. And I think it's just a sign. And it's always these things that happen that just go, man, it's really happening. And I know it's kind of when they canceled the X, Queen City X, I went, man, this is real. And I know it sounds kind of weird to say that, but that one hit because I haven't been to the X in a while, but I love that atmosphere last year going to the Rider game when they started to connect the two. And I thought that was so much fun. So these kind of events hit you to go, yeah, this is serious. And I know it's serious, but people quite understand what I mean by, yeah, this is the real stuff. And it's very serious. And the Sports Hall of Fame the induction will take place in October 2021. And there'll be another party. Well, it's something to celebrate. And there's a lot of great people in Regina sports that the Hall of Fame have honored. And it's an honor to be part of it. And it's an honor to meet those people. And we're sorry we're not sending you in this year, but we'll make it up to you next year.
Awesome. Well, I thought that it would be a good platform here, venue for you to make that news.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Murray, you are my source for Rider News, so I appreciate it, my man. Keep up the great work, and we're hoping to see you at the stadium sooner than later.
Well, thanks. It's my first time on the show. I wondered when you'd get to me, so I figured it had to be a very quiet day on the coronavirus beat.
No. Okay, well, let's do it more. Thank you, Murray.
All right. Thank you, Rod.
The great Murray McCormick joining us from his home, probably bound for the Canadian Football Hall of Fame media wing, too. I will just say this. He talked about, hey, you have nothing else to do but exercise. I don't know how we're going back or where we're going back or how the world's going back, but I can tell you this. I got up this morning and biked 50 minutes, however many miles that was, I don't know. And I watched the ESPN. I said, Korean baseball, get up. I do have a coffee while I ride the bike. Don't judge me. I know it's weird, but it works.
Yeah.
And I love it. And I said to my wife several times, I said, in my old life, it would have been up, throw on some clothes, tussle my hair, have a bird bath, which my dad used to do, put your head under the tap, grab a coffee, and gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
See you later. When are you going to be back? Don't know. Bye.
Yeah.
I like this.
It's great.
I like it a lot.
Isn't it awesome?
I like it a lot.
You got the steam in yet? Is that finished?
No, but we're working on it. I don't know what to say about that. My wife... Our Renos should be sponsored by 7-Eleven because she was tallying up the budget yesterday, and I got a big gulp.
Oh, no.
So I don't regret all this, but what started with all new flooring from Flooring Superstore, Trent was over from Flooring Superstore. Now he's doing tile. I don't even want to get into it. Why did you bring it up?
Yeah, I know. Well... You brought it. No,
the steam's coming. Steam's coming.
Good. No, it's nice. Yeah, everyone's back. Some people are going back to the gyms. I've seen some, social media and that stuff. But it's great having it at home, I'm sure.
We will talk about this when we come back. More on Colin Kaepernick to the CFL. He's not coming. The question is, should he come? On the Capital Automall Universal Collision Center poll question, it's about 50-50. I just got a report that he is Tiger Cat's property. And Cassidy Dankachuk is watching in Flin Flon. He's a reporter with the Flin Flon Reminder. That's the newspaper up there. And he says, if Kaepernick went to the CFL right after he was blackballed, he would have torched the league if you put him behind a decent O-line. It would have been a massacre. His combination of mobility and accuracy, a quarterback built for today's CFL. Yes. But if the bear hadn't stopped to take a whiz, he'd have caught the rabbit. These are different times. We're talking about now. How would he be now?
Yeah.
Why won't you come to the CFL? Are you scared? Because you're saying he might ruin his brand.
Might.
So we'll talk about that and more. And Scott Flory coming up from the Saskatchewan Huskies. We'll be right back. It's the Rod Pedersen Show, episode 251. Canada's morning sports talk show returns in a moment. Facebook Live, Game Plus, TV Network, and listen live at rodpeterson.com.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpeterson.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.